Yes, the 6 AI shifts that will actually change everything for you. And this probably has happened to you. You are in a leadership meeting. Your VP of marketing just showed you something that shouldn't have been possible 6 months ago. A competitor who has half your team just launched 3 new campaigns in a single day with creatives that are actually good, because we've seen some really bad ones. And we know that they were created literally overnight, right? And your CMO looks at you and says, we need to hire more people. And here's where most leaders get it wrong. That competitor didn't hire more people. They didn't spend more money. They did something else entirely. They shifted how they work. I've spent the last 21 years inside massive healthcare systems and Fortune 500 operations watching technology transform entire industries. Then I've spent the last decade consulting with everyone from startups to 7-figure creators, tracking which strategies actually print money and which ones become expensive experiments that live in your Slack history forever. But this year, everything changed. 2025 wasn't about choosing whether to use AI. It was about discovering which 6 ways of using AI actually moved the needles, which ones generated savings, revenue, or even both. And I watched the money pile for leaders who figured this out. And I watched leaders who didn't keep throwing budget at outdated solutions. So here's what I really want to be clear about. This isn't theory. This isn't look at what GPTs can do for you. This is field data from real businesses, small businesses scaling fast, consultants tripling their capacity, healthcare organizations cutting 20 plus hours per person per week, and then reinvesting it into revenue activities. So by the end of this video today, you will have 6 very specific shifts that you can start implementing this week. Not vague concepts, not best practices, but exact moves with numbers attached, because money moved is the only metric that matters for this one. And if you put even 2 of these into practice, you're going to outpace 80% of leadership teams that are still experimenting. So let's dive into it. I want to talk about probably the most important shift here. It is the visual AI that has become the conversion engine. And so here's the scenario that most of my clients didn't even see coming. Your competitor isn't just faster at content, but they're testing 5 different variations and ad at the same time. So they're looking at 5 different variations. They're testing it in real time all at once. And it took you a brief designer, right? They're learning what works in real time. They're testing it. They're looking at it. They're observing the metrics. And then they're pivoting by Friday instead of next quarter. So instead of saying, hey, let's wait for a couple of weeks, let's see what happens. We don't have time for that, especially if you're in the middle of a marketing campaign or a product outreach and you are trying to onboard or look for metrics in the next 2 weeks. You don't have time to wait for that, right? And that's not because they're smarter, it's because that they have removed the friction from the creation cycle. So in 2025, visual creation went from being a bottleneck to being a competitive advantage. And it happened faster than most leaders have even anticipated. So let's look at the data and let's back it up. So a 2025 small business AI survey reported that 41% jump in AI adoption year over year, with marketing and content production as the top use cases. Companies deploying visual AI in customer-facing workflows saw measurable improvement in engagement metrics within 30 days. And this is from Business Wire, a small business AI survey in 2025. So why it makes you money? Let's talk about the real math. And let me break this down past the surface, okay? Better creatives doesn't just mean prettier ads. They mean click-through rate improvement. Brands using AI tested variations saw 23 to 31% increases in click-through rate because they're testing color psychology, message positioning, and CTA placement at scale. That's not luck, folks. That's science happening in your marketing stack. So there are going to be faster feedback loops. Your best performing creative from Monday tells you something about your audience. And AI lets you produce 5 new variations by Wednesday and then test them by Thursday. So traditional design process, it looked like this. That's about 4 week cycle, right? You've just cut your iteration speed by 10 times. And the actual cost elimination, a designer costs you anywhere from $65 to $150 per hour, or even more if you're talking about a boutique designer, right? And if you're producing about 40 variations per week, instead of 8, you've just eliminated about 2,500 to 7,500 in monthly design spend. You get to reinvest that into media budget, and then you amplify your reach without hiring. So the way it looks like for testing and velocity is that it equals market intelligence. You learn what resonates with your audience 10 times faster than competitors still using static creative. And that's not just faster marketing, it's competitive intelligence baked into the workflow. It already exists within your workflow. So you're not just figuring it out and testing and being confused and chaotic. You already have this built in. And here's a real example. A client in the supplement space started using AI generated variations for Facebook ads. They went from launching 1 new creative per week to 5 within 30 days. They identified that one specific positioning, it costs per serving, like versus ingredient quality. So that outperformed everything else by 280%. They would have hurting on it, everything else, and doubled down. So by month 3, that insight had generated about 47K in additional revenue that came from testing speed, not a bigger budget. So I want to talk to you about how you would actually implement this. So on day 1, you want to build your visual baseline and you want to audit your top 5 performing pieces, ads, thumbnails, carousels, emails, identify what's working. Is it color? Is it faces versus product? Is it social proof? Is it text placement? And then use Gemini, Claude, or Midjourney to create about 3 to 4 variations of each top performer and keep consistent branding elements like your logos, your colors, your fonts, and only swap out positioning and visuals. Then by day 3 to 4, this is going to be a production sprint. You want to set up a simple template in Canva or your design tool of choice. Generate about 15 to 20 variations across your top 3 asset types. This is an A/B test. The top 3 variations immediately, whichever platform is your main revenue driver. And then for day 5 through 7, this is learning plus iteration. So run 24-hour tests on each variation and identify the winner in each category. And then create 5 new variations based on what won. What won is always going to be metrics. That's what we're looking at. And you want to eliminate underperformers immediately. Don't wait to see what happens because nothing else is happening. You would know within the numbers. And then output metrics to track. Here's what I want you to focus on. And I'm going to share my screen with you. We can move a few things out the way. Okay, looks like it's not pulling up for me, but I'm going to give you some really detailed notes. And if there's more information that you actually want to see a PDF or my exact breakdown, or if you want to jump on a call with me and we can run through this, and I can talk to you also about how I can implement these for you as well. So here's what we want to focus. We're talking about output metrics to track. So variations produced per week, right? Baseline is 5, you want to target 20. The cost per variation should drop to near zero after initial setup. And then the click-through rate improvement, if current, is about 2%. So you want to target anywhere from 2 to 5.3%. So this is the time from concept to live. This is your baseline, 5 days, target 24 hours. So AI didn't make design easier. It made marketing cheaper, faster, and more profitable. So your next competitive advantage is moving from quarterly campaigns to weekly iterations. So let's talk about the second shift. This is hybrid roles plus AI outperformed entire teams. Now, this is where the real money got made in 2025. A founder that I worked with had 7 people doing content, operations, and customer support, and she was spending about $280K annually. Her revenue was flat. She was drowning in process and not scaling. So we didn't hire an 8th person, but we did restructure those 7 roles around AI first workflows. One person became the content operator, responsible for strategy and editorial direction, but using AI to execute 70% of production. And then another became the operations architect, designing workflows and using automation to handle execution. A third became the insight strategist, analyzing what works and feeding back into the system. So with this process, revenue grew 34% in 90 days. She cut 15 hours per week, a low value work per person, same payroll, dramatically different output. So let's talk about the data here. Small businesses using AI integrated hybrid roles saved 20 plus hours per month per person. All they did was reinvest into revenue activities. Companies restructured around AI, and they saw that the output increased of 15 to 40% without adding any headcount. And this came from Business Wire. These are the metrics. That's fact-based data. So let's talk about how it makes you money. So here's what most leaders miss. You don't make money from effort, you make money from decision leverage. The compression of low value work. The founder above found someone doing research 15 hours per week. AI does 80% of research now. So your person stops gathering and they start analyzing and making decisions. The same person, 3 times the impact, but now they're being smarter about their decisions. Then there's the reallocation of 15 to 20 hours per person per week. That is about 60 to 80 hours freed up across the small team. Conservatively, that's about 1,500 to 2,000 in a week labor cost recaptured annually. So that's 78K to about 104K in additional capacity without additional payroll. You hear the trend, right? So people work on revenue activities, not process. When someone isn't spending 10 hours a week on admin, they have 10 hours to generate leads, close deals, or improve the product. In most businesses, that 10-hour shift, it moves the needle on the revenue in ways that you're hiring a new admin person never even would, right? Because now you're refocusing. We used to talk to the providers all the time or practitioners, and we're like, look, if you implement this practice management program, or if you implement this automated process, you actually don't have to sit here and continue to do 10 things at the same time every day, right? Because it's already automated. It frees that practitioner up or that physician to do what they do best. So you want to look at the output multiplier effect. If your best person is 40% faster because AI handles the low cognitive load work, you've gotten closer to about 40% raise on your investment in that person without making them do more work, without hiring an additional person. So here's a real example. A consult company had 3 consultants doing client work, right? 2 operations, they're doing the research. Then you have scheduling, you have content, and you have production. So the annual costs for the client doing the work, the operations folks, the production, the content, that was about 450K. The operations team was the bottleneck. The consultants had to wait for decks, agendas, follow-up materials. So we restructured. Each consultant got access to AI first workflows. Instead of requesting materials, they generated from them. So instead of waiting for meeting notes, they now can review AI transcribed and summarized information. So the two operations, people shifted to system design and client experience. So this is now a higher value work. 3 months later, each consultant was taking on 25% more clients because why? They're not wasting their time on things that are not bringing in money back into the business. They're also showing that they're more accurate in other areas that are more client facing. So that means that revenue went from about 800K to 1.1 million. Same exact cost, but better output structure. So let's talk about how to implement this. So step one, for days 1 to 2, this is really important because I want you to audit. I want you to track each person, what they actually do for 3 days. I remember having the team sit down and we wrote down exactly what do you do from beginning to end. And at first they were on the fence. They were like, what do you mean? Are you trying to replace me? What's going on? No, we need to know exactly what you're doing from beginning to end. We're doing an audit. We need to understand if the task that you're doing or the actions, if they're still proficient, are they necessary? And you want to categorize the time: revenue generating, decision making, low value admin, execution, setup to training. So list everything that feels repetitive. I do this every week without thinking. Here's your step two. Hybrid role design, days 3 to 4, group 5 to 7 low value tasks into one bucket per person. So you want to define what AI automation handles versus the person who decides or oversees it. So here's a good example. When we're looking at roles, we think about content and execution. So the person does the strategy, positioning, and editorial calls. AI generates drafts, variation, scheduling templates. The person reviews and approves. And then operations plus automation. The person designs the system, determines the workflow, looks at the audit quality, right? And then AI executes, it processes, and it collects data. So the person, the human behind this, is actually analyzing and adjusting. And then you have sales plus AI research. The person talks to customers and negotiates. AI then handles prospects researching and then positioning and initial outreach sequencing. So when you look at what the person, the human does, they follow up with hot leads. You're actually getting a live person on the phone, not an AI person, although I've heard those and those are great too, if that's the direction you want to go into. But in this particular situation, a person is jumping on the call with hot leads. So you have admin plus smart triage. And then the person handles complex support and relationship decisions. So AI handles FAQ, initial classification, and data entry. The person, they focus on escalation. So now you're putting a human at all of the triage entry points. So here's step 3. You want to assign output KPIs. This is what's going to happen on day 5 for you. Don't measure hours worked, measure pieces of content produced, deals closed, support tickets resolved, workflows automated. So here's a great example. Content person generates 10 final pieces per week, right? That's 50% AI first, 50% oversight versus content person works 40 hours because now you just have a block of time. Yes, this person works 40 hours, but what are they doing specifically within the 40 hours? Not just the job list that we gave them and the additional assignments that we assign as needed. No, we're diving really deep in and we're breaking it down. Step 4, give each role its toolkit. So you can do this between days 6 to 7, Gemini for research and ideation, ChatGPT or Claude for drafting, Zapier, make that for workflow automation. So your platform specific tools, you're looking at a CMS, a CRM, et cetera. So you want to train each person on their stack in 2 to 3 hours. You want to make it really specific so that they are maximizing their time. So let's talk about what this looks like for output metrics to track. You have hours freed per person per week, right? The target was anywhere from 15 to 20 hours. You have output per person, content pieces, deal tickets, etc. And then you have revenue per person per year. Time to hire replacement should go down because roles are clearer. Who's actually doing what? You're not losing people, you're not losing jobs, you're reallocating, and you're also using that higher level of expertise for human oversight. So hybrid roles plus AI, it lets you scale results without scaling payroll. The math is really simple. One person doing what three used to do equals 30% cost reduction plus higher revenue from freed up capacity, not from overwork, not from burnout, but elimination, right? To make this really clean and straightforward. All right, so let's talk about shift three. This is a plug and play automation, became a non-negotiable. Now, we've talked a lot about this throughout the entire year of 2024, 2025. We even touched on it in 2023. Automation before was like, oh my gosh, it was taboo, right? But automation isn't new because in 2025, it stopped from being nice to have. That's cool. I don't really need it. I don't think I want to use it to becoming survival, part of your survival kit. So founders with zero coding experience are now running full sales funnels, customer support workflows, and also onboarding sequences that would have required a developer 2 years ago. The competitive advantage isn't having automation, it is how fast you can deploy it. So here's the data. Let's back it up. AI plus automation is saving small businesses about 273.5 billion annually in labor, admin, and time. And more specifically, businesses implementing just 4 core automations saw anywhere between 20 to 30 hours freed per week. So that's 68% reinvesting that time into sales and customer success. Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship Council had this report. So let's talk about why it makes you money, the time to revenue math. Here's the part that actually impacts your bottom line. Lead capture to first conversation happens in hours and not days. Manual lead qualification can take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours per lead. Automated qualification and instant responses, the answers, the questions in 5 minutes. If you're getting 20 leads per week and 30% convert, that's about 6 deals. Accelerating decision making by 24 hours, just move your cash collection timeline forward 2 weeks. That's working capital that you actually can use. So let's talk about the nurture sequence working while you sleep. A lead comes in at 9 p.m. Competitor sees it at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and then they try to jump on the call. But you, instant response, instant value delivery, first touch point already in their box, right? So they reached out to you at 9:05 based on your automation system. You already said, hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Instant response, automatic value, right? So the person who responds first often wins first. A lot of times people are searching, they're looking at stuff in the middle of the night. They even forget about the company that they reached out to. They just remember something caught their eye, something looked good, something that they read seemed like this business could help me solve my issue, right? But you sent that message in their inbox. Now they can stop guessing about who they were sending information to because you're already there ready to meet them on the other end. So onboarding at scale without hiring onboarding staff. Manual onboarding takes anywhere from 3 to 5 hours per client. If you're onboarding 8 to 12 people per month, that's about 24 to 60 hours. So one person's full-time job. AI-powered onboarding, customer self-serves through a guided workflow and gets their answers in 30 minutes. And you're only in the conversation if something breaks. So you just eliminated about 2,500 to 3,500 per month in labor costs for that function. No more just jumping on a call just for someone to say, oh, okay, well, perhaps we're not the right fit for you. So you're onboarding at scale. And then you can offer delivery that happens instantaneously. So customers buy, they immediately get access, credentials, and next step. No manual process, no someone will send this tomorrow. Friction is now eliminated, right? Completion and satisfaction. It means fewer refund requests and higher lifetime value. Some people may really complain about, oh, how they wish there were more human contacts. And I think it all depends on what part of the process is there that human contact. If you're sending out information as promised, as agreed, and before expectations even rise, you're already several steps ahead, right? So this is where this is truly valued. Offer delivery happens instantly. So let's talk about evergreen revenue from micro offers and upsells. Automation lets you build low ticket offers. That could be anywhere from $7 to $27 that would never be profitable to sell manually, right? And just imagine, it's like being hired for just only $7 to $27, right? And you only are seeing like one person every couple of days. The math is not mathing, but you can deliver one $17 offer to 100 people per month. That's $1,700 in additional revenue that costs you 5 minutes to set up and 2 minutes per week to monitor. You've already built it. It's an evergreen product. It continues to sell itself. It continues to be relevant. So here's a real example. A consultant was manually following up with leads, average response time about 18 hours. Close rate was about 24%. Average deal size was about 3,500. He set up an automation, prospect fills the form, instant email with relevant case study, and the calendar link. So if they book, welcome sequence with onboarding materials, and the first meeting agenda arrives automatically. Response time, 2 minutes. Lots that was already covered, right? Open rate on the follow-up is about 67% versus 23% for manual email. Booking rate is about 35% versus 24%. So he added about 140K in annual revenue and removed 10 hours per week of his own time. So let's talk about how we actually implement this. So we want to look at specific automations. Automation number one is lead capture. Instantly responds, right? So day one, you would set up with Zapier, Make Plus email, SMS if you wanted to also send text messages and follow-ups, and the prospect fills your form. Instant autoresponder with your best converting asset, lead magnet, case study, demo video, whatever it is that you feel like they actually need that they can use. Delay is about 2 hours. Now they feel like you're working on this information, but you've already carefully curated it beforehand, right? Then you send a custom follow-up with specific positioning, and you delay that about 24 hours. Send a third touch point and offer a calendar link. So now everything is not happening back to back. You're building a relationship with this person because you're showing them the information that they need. And now you're giving them access to you, which means access to solving the issue that they have, right? So let's focus on these tools. It would be Zapier, Make, ActiveCampaign. Time to implement is about 90 minutes. Revenue impact, 35% increase in lead response rate, which equals anywhere from 15 to 20% more qualified conversations. So let's talk about the second automation, personalized nurture sequences, day two. Set up with ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, or HubSpot. When someone joins your list, they get sorted by tag source, interest, or company size. So day one, you send a welcome plus context. Day 3, educational content, address that pain point. Day 5, social proof, what you have done, how it has resolved other people's issues or testimonials. Day 7, soft offer, low commitment to entry. Day 10, value confirmation, results people actually can get. Day 14, close higher ticket offer or calendar link. Invite them to access to you to say, hey, we've got these issues that I help you to resolve. Let's move on to your bigger concern. So here are the tools that are going to help you in this particular scenario. It's going to be ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, HubSpot. Time to implement is roughly anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. The revenue impact is going to be about 8 to 12% of cold traffic that converts to customers. So this is in comparison to 2 to 3% with no nurture, no contact, no follow-up, no, hey, here I am. By the way, I remember you reached out to me. I want to reach out to you. Nothing. So that's the biggest difference. So here's the automation number 3, automated offer delivery plus onboarding. You can do this between day 3 to 4. You set it up with Zapier plus your delivery platform. It could be Teachable, Kajabi, Thinkific, or any custom teaching platform that you have. Customer purchases, payment confirm, credentials sent immediately. So the first email has the access to the link, first setup, right? You walk that through. 48 hours later, hey, how's it going? I sent you this information. Check in with an FAQ link. Hey, in case you have any of these questions, here's some more additional information. Day 5, next step offer, upgrade, additional training, coaching. So here are the tools that you can use for this particular automation process for days 3 to 4. The tools, Stripe, it can be Gumroad, it can even be a website platform where you have a subscription that allows for you to collect payments. Sometimes if you do it through your website, you actually end up paying a smaller percentage. So you can consider that as well. Plus your platform, whatever platform you're on. So Zapier, time to implement is about 4 to 5 hours. Revenue impact is about 95% of customers get started within 2 hours versus 20% manual onboarding, calling, emailing manually. Hey, Susie, I've got 15 people. Can you send an email out to them and see if they're interested or if we can get them on the phone call? No, this is an automated process. So that would equal 40% higher completion and 60% fewer refund requests. You gave them what they were asking before they even knew that they needed it. So here's automation 4, evergreen sales flow, micro offers plus upsells. So day 5 to 7, here's how you're going to set this up. Your sales funnel builder, it could be ClickFunnels, it could be Lead Pages, or any other custom program that does something similar. Basically, what I'm telling you is to look for a program that already has some of these features built in, right? You have that link to your homepage. It's either a free audit assessment, an upsell, low ticket offer anywhere from $17 to $47, highest conversion. Upsell 2, mid ticket, anywhere from $97 to $297. You see those $97 offers out there all the time. You're like, oh, what do they do with $97? $97 multiplied by a few hundred people, it goes really far. And this is identified to educate and also qualifies for upsell number 3. This is your high ticket calendar link for consultation, and it closes premium clients. So you're not going to send them a link for $10,000 for them to pay you on the spot. You're going to send them a calendar link so that you can have a consultation with them to make sure that they are the right fit for the program that you're offering and that you can actually fulfill their needs. So here are the tools: ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, ConvertKit. The time to implement can be anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. If you already have your offer, it actually can be less than that. So if you already have your offer built out, all you're doing is copy and pasting, or you're doing a summary, or you're using GPT to help you to summarize. Some of these different programs already, some of the different programs already have AI built in. So you don't necessarily have to leave their platform to go to GPT to figure out what to do. So some of them help you with that automation process as well. So think about revenue impact, 800 to about 1500 per month in baseline and micro offer revenue, plus 20 to 30% conversion to mid-ticket. That equals about 2,000 to 4,000 a month in hands-off revenue. You've already built the system. You've already built the materials, the education. It's evergreen, so it continues to work for you. So let's talk about the output metrics to track. Hours saved per week, the target is about 20. Lead response time, that's baseline, 18 hours, target 2 minutes. Conversion rate increases, target is 10 to 20% improvement. Time to first customer touch point, this is your baseline, 1 day, target 1 minute. Automations live, target 4 within 1 week. So 4 smart automations can replace 20 hours of busy work every week. More importantly, they compress the time between prospect shows, interest, and customers that already have their results from weeks to minutes. That's the biggest difference. So let's talk about shift 4, insight-driven decisions replace guesswork. Insight-driven decisions that replace the guesswork. So people aren't losing to AI companies. They're losing to leaders who stopped guessing and started validating. So this is the shift that really separates high performers from everyone else. Guessing takes about 40 hours and costs you lots of money. Validation takes 3 hours and makes you money. So let's back it up with the data. Companies using generative AI in consumer-facing workflows saw sales increase from 0 to 16%, depending on execution quality. The difference between winners and everyone else is insight-driven positioning versus assumption-driven positioning. So recent field experiment showed this information that the focus really is going to be the validation. And the reason why it makes you money, the accuracy is the math. Here's where the money actually gets made. You don't spend energy on messaging that was never going to work to begin with. You thought it was a wonderful idea, sounds great, but it's not validated. Most leaderships, the content and hope doesn't get you anywhere, right? AI lets you test positioning before you actually produce it. Would this work for this particular audience in this time frame on this month, given this particular economy? That puts you in a different perspective of validation. So you ask 100 people virtually which message resonates. You see which positioning solves the problem that they care most about. Then you produce content around the winner. Not, I have this thing in my head and I'm really good at it and they're going to like it. Like if you build it, they will come. No, they're not coming because that's not something they're interested in coming for. So you get to produce content around the winner. And that's not hype, that's efficiency. So if 30% of your content performs and 70% doesn't, and you can flip that to 70% performing, then you validate it first. You've just tripled your content ROI. And then you optimize for the right metric. Are you optimizing for clicks, sales, engagements? You need to be really specific on what you're trying to accomplish. AI analysis of your audience and competitor data tells you what exactly matters to them. A founder was focused on monthly subscribers when her audience actually cared about done-for-you implementation. So she positioned everything around implementation. Revenue doubled, same traffic, just different messaging. So you stay 2 to 3 steps ahead of your market. Weekly trend scans using AI, it means that you're seeing what's emerging before it actually becomes noise. You respond to it before your competitor notices because you're really paying attention, you're focusing on the metrics, you're watching the trends, and you're not reacting to just trends, but you're surfing them, right? So you know your competitive position precisely. Instead of assuming you're different, I'm different. This is my background. It's not like your background. You need to know exactly where you are different. You know which competitors own which positioning. You know which positioning is wide open. So you attack the gaps, not the crowded center. So here's an example. A coach was running ads around proven 30-day transformation, very crowded. I had her run an AI analysis of 50 competitors plus 100 customer interviews in her niche. The data showed that competitors owned the fast results, but no one was owning sustainable, no burnout implementation. So she repositioned everything, not the product, just the positioning. So her new headline is results that stick because they're designed to fit your life, not replace it. Ad spend stayed the same, no changes there. Conversion rate went from 2.1% to 5.8%. So she multiplied revenue per dollar spent by 2.7. Same audience, just a much, much better insight. She's meeting them where they're at. What do they actually need? So here's how you would implement this. So let's pick a Monday. Sometimes starting the beginning of the week helps you to stay focused and keep you accountable. So we look at picking a weekly insight cycle and we focus on a Monday. So our 1 to 2 trend plus market scan. You can use Gemini with this prompt. You can put in analyze the top 20 Google trends in your niche for the last 30 days. What are the emerging themes? What is it that people are searching for that wasn't being searched for 3 months ago? And then you run your competitor website audit. Look at these 10 competitor websites. What positioning language is new in the last 30 days? What problems are they highlighting? And then you summarize what's changing in my market that most people haven't noticed yet. And yes, there's actually an AI platform that allows for you to search who your competitors are based on your profile. So look at it this way, based on 2 to 3 hours, we get to do a pre-offer validation. You take your current offer or new offer idea. You can use Claude, ChatGPT with this prompt. And what you want to put in is that I'm positioning, and then you say what your offer is to the audience, whatever your audience is. Does this positioning address their number one problem? That's your question. And then rate 1 to 10 and explain why. What positioning would be more compelling? And then you run through about 3 to 5 different positioning angles and get AI to rank them for you. Here's another option. You can send the top 3 to 10 to 15 people in your audience. You can email them, DM, poll, whichever one resonates. Always recommend sending probably about double the amount. You want to account for the percentage of people that may not respond at all. And if they don't respond at all, that can't help with your poll or for you to extract information because you don't have enough replies. So just consider that as well. So, and hours, this is probably going to take about 3 to 4. You look at competitor plus positioning scan. So you use AI to analyze who are my top 5 competitors? What are they positioning? What gaps do they have? What positioning do they not own? One of the things that we used to do also is we would actually look at poor reviews. What are people saying about this particular product or service that is near my niche? What issues are they having? And then you create a solve for the actual problem. And what this does is it's a clear map of where you can stand out and what's actually different. Not just we're better, but it shows specifically how you're better, how you are resolving those pain points, those issues, those problems that you obviously see that clients and customers have. And then you update your positioning deck and your sales messaging to make sure that you cover those angles. So here's what output looks like. By the end of the week, if you start on Monday, by Friday, updated positioning for your main offer, new messaging angle for next week's content, and then 1 to 2 trend insights to incorporate clear knowledge of what competitors are not saying that you can actually own. So the implementation framework, Monday, insights gathering plus analysis, that's about 3 hours, solo or with a team. You want to really take your time on these different breakdowns and implementing the framework because If you are accurate from beginning to end, you're going to get a better output. Same thing as when you're putting in prompts into any GPT. The more clear and concise that you are, the better your output is going to be. And you have to think this is really important because this is about redefining what your messaging and marketing materials and content is going to look like. So for Monday, if you're looking at insights plus gathering and analysis, like I said, it's about 3 hours solo or with a team. Tuesday, your breakdown is messaging test, 30 minutes, get feedback from about 10 to 20 people. On Wednesday, refinement and approval. Again, let me go back to Tuesday. Like I said, I always like to actually gauge for more people. The more, the better, especially if you're being really specific in what you're looking for. On Wednesday, your refinement and approval, about 1 hour. And then Thursday to Friday, you want to roll out new messaging angle in content and ads and ongoing execution. So AI doesn't replace decision making, it replaces guessing. You go from, I think this will work, to the data shows that this will work, and that shift changes everything. It is all in the proof, it's in the metrics. So let's talk about shift 5, lean creator-led businesses became the norm. Let's do a celebration and shout out because there's so many that fit into this particular category. 2025 proved something that most people didn't want to admit. You don't need a team to run a 500K businesses. You found that there were solo businesses, one person with the right positioning and AI-enabled workflows saying what they hit this year, record numbers, right? Let's talk about the data though. AI adoption among solo and micro teams, anywhere from 1 to 3 people, increased competitiveness by 40%, reduced costs by 35%, and enabled 3 to 4% scaling without hiring. Lean creator-led businesses outpace traditionally structured companies in agility and profit margin. And this is from Business Wire 2025 survey. So let's talk about why it makes you money. You keep 70% of revenue versus 35%. A traditional coaching business with a founder, operations manager, and customer success person is paying out 120K in annual salaries. A lean creator-led business with an AI-enabled delivery is paying anywhere from 0 to 20K if they outsource 1 to 2 specific functions. Same revenue, but equals 2 to 3% higher profit. So here's where you really shine at. Solo creators and businesses with 1 to 3 employees. You move faster. One person decides, acts, learns. No meetings to talk about it. No 5 meetings to talk about the meeting that we talked about the meeting, right? No approval chains. The market shifts. You shift in 24 hours. You see this change that happened on Monday. Guess what? By Wednesday, you are rocking and rolling with a new product, new marketing materials to address these issues. You have a direct customer contact. The person delivering the service is the person selling it. So you hear feedback instantly. You're not waiting until it runs through a team and then next thing you know, a month later, you had a customer complaint that you're on the phone with them. They're saying, hey, look, I have some concerns. I'm wondering, can we do this different? And guess what? You get to address it right away. So you know what works, you know what needs to change, and you become recession proof. No payroll, no overhead. Your only variable is cost. So business gets slow, you scale down. That is your superpower. Businesses get fast, you scale up. So traditional businesses with 5+ employees cut people and rebuild constantly. Lean businesses adjusting and keep moving. So here's a real example. A solo creator, a 300K year business with an online course, group coaching program, and done for you services. They didn't hire anyone. They used AI for course production, scripts, outlines, transcription. They use Zapier for client onboarding, email marketing for nurture, and one contractor for design. So this doesn't mean you shouldn't hire anyone. You have to think about where are you not strong at as a one business owner or a 1 to 3 person business owner. So this way, you know how to keep your overhead low. So maybe 2K per month. Her gross was 25K per month. Her take home after all costs was 23K per month. Who is she paying? She's paying herself and maybe two other employees. 276K year net. A traditional coaching business with the same revenue, it needs 2 to 3 staff members, which equals about 120K in costs, which equals about 155K net. So same business model, but 80% higher profit. One person built over 18 months. So let's talk about how to apply this one. This is a great one for you. So step one, if you are a solo business owner or you have about 3 people, you want to pick one platform primary channel. You choose based on where is your audience. I'm open for testing other areas. You're already doing the work. You can simply post them everywhere else as well. But you want to focus on where is your audience because that's where your best stuff is going to go. Where do you have natural credibility? Is it YouTube? Best for long form authority, algorithm reach? Is it LinkedIn? Best for business to business professional audiences? Is that already your lane? This could be great for you. Newsletters, best for direct relationship and owned audience. Podcasting plus clips, best for audio first audiences. TikTok Reels, best for discovery and viral reach to new audiences. You're out there on Monday, guess what? You already have 800 views by Friday, especially if you're really consistent and your messages are clear and they connect. So the goal here is you don't try to own all of them. You own one and you let other platforms be secondary distribution. Here's your step 2, create one low ticket or reoccurring offer. This is your revenue engine. So here are some examples. Memberships are taking storm, anywhere from $27 to $97 a month ongoing. So you can count on your memberships, whether it's 50 people or it's a few hundred people every month, right? Online courses, anywhere from $197 to $997 one time. Group coaching, anywhere from $297 to $997 per month is a good place to be per month for 6 to 12 weeks. You're helping them solve their issues. You can also offer a done-for-you service, and that could be anywhere from $297,000 to $2K per project. So here's the rule, folks. You want to be deliverable in 5 to 10 hours per customer. If it's taking more than that, you've overbuilt it. And also, you're not making your money back. Step 3, use AI to deliver content. Gemini for ideation, ChatGPT for scripting, Claude for outlining. Yes, each one can do these things independently, but why? When you can use all of them, even a free subscription, and see exactly what the outputs look like and which one best fits your voice. You edit, record, and write. You follow up email sequences. You can use ActiveCampaign, nurture automatically. So you want to combine support, AI chatbots, answers, FAQs, things that are really basic, but give a really great impact to your clients. You handle complex custom questions. So there's curriculum, create once, sell infinitely. You have course templates, frameworks, and then your upsells. When customers finish, they have a new problem. So help them solve their new problem. Offer upgraded next level service. Step 4, iterate weekly based on feedback plus insights. So here's what Monday may look like. Check customer feedback, surveys, conversations, support tickets. What's working? What's confusing? Tuesday to Wednesday, make one improvement, better curriculum section, clearer onboarding, new angle on positioning. Thursday, push that improvement live. Friday, measure impact, completion rate, satisfaction, sales velocity, and then repeat, especially if it's working, but be okay with changing what's not. So here's what output looks like, 12-month lean creator timeline. Months 1 through 3, build audience on your primary platform. 2 to 3 posts per week, plus develop offer months. 4 to 6, launch offer to your audience, collect feedback, refine, and in months 7 to 9, you want to scale your audience. You want to offer based on what's working. right? And eliminate what is not working. And then months 10 to 12, you want to add second revenue stream, upsell, or secondary offer. So these are realistic numbers. This is what this looks like. For month 6, 3 to 8K month revenue. Month 9, 8 to 15K month revenue. Month 12 could be anywhere from 15 to 30K month revenue. Profit margin with AI plus automation is anywhere from 70 to 80%. So AI turned creations into companies without the payroll, without the overhead, or even the meetings. All right, so let's jump into shift 6, our last shift. Ethical AI became a real profit lever, not a legal shield. So most leaders think about ethical AI the wrong way. They think it's about not getting sued or even complying with regulations. But in 2025, the leaders who made the most money were the ones who figured it out. Ethical AI builds trust. Trust builds reoccurring revenue. Reoccurring revenue scales forever. So let's back it up with the data, folks. Businesses using AI responsibly saw higher customer satisfaction, lower churn, about 25%, and better loyalty, which directly increases lifetime value. Ethical positioning also became a very competitive difference between attracting higher quality customers who are willing to pay a premium. And this is based on the SBEC report for 2023 to 2024, and also the McKinsey Data Ethics Study. So why it makes you money? Let's talk about it. Trust increased renewal rates. A customer who knows you're being transparent about AI use, checking your work, and protecting the data renews at 90% versus 65% for competitors who hide AI use or ship sloppy outputs. Those folks who are not willing to admit, yes, I'm using AI, but we know that you are you using it ethically? If your annual customer value is 5K and you improve renewal by 25%, that's an extra about $1,250 per customer per year. Scale to 100 customers, that is roughly about 125K in additional revenue from better retention. So trust increases the referral rate. Referral customers are 5% more likely to convert and have higher lifetime value. Ethical AI builds the kind of trust that makes people recommend you. Trust attracts premium customers. So businesses, individuals who care about responsible AI, they are typically more sophisticated buyers and they're willing to pay more. They become your best customers. And then trust reduces friction. You're not managing customer complaints about AI mistakes or hidden automation. You're not debugging trust issues. You're selling and not having to explain. So here's a real world example. A software company started transparently telling customers this feature uses AI instead of hiding it. They added a manual review option and published their bias testing results. They didn't get more customers initially, but renewal rate went up 71% to 89%. Support tickets dropped by 30%. Customers knew exactly what they were getting. And NPS went from 42 to 58. So customers who renewed were 3 times more likely to upgrade to a premium tier. So on 10 million revenue, that's 89% renewal versus 71%. That's about 1.8 million plus an additional retained revenue. So let's talk about how to implement this. Week 1, write your ethical AI promise. This is simple. It's 3-paragraph statement that answers, where do you use AI in your experience? And be specific. What's our quality standard? How do we check AI points? The third question is, what data are we protecting? How do we use customer information? So here's an example. We use AI to speed up onboarding, improve recommendations, write first drafts of content. Every AI output is reviewed by a human. We test our AI systems for bias and accuracy per month. Your data never leaves our servers and is never used to train AI models. So this is an example of what you could put on your website. You post this in your sales materials and also in your customer onboarding. Week 2, you add a human review checkpoint. Where is the AI output customer facing? So recommendations, add a flag if this is off base, review flagged items, and then content writing, have a human approve it before it goes to the customer. So decisions, credit decisions, eligibility. You want to review edge cases and flag items. And then your support route. Is it complex? Questions are sent to human. AI handles routine FAQs. Week 3, use AI to detect biases or inaccuracies. You want to set up a simple monthly audit. It could be through Gemini, Claude, analyze your first 100 outputs. Are there patterns? You want to make sure that you're not inputting proprietary information into the GPT if you're not already protected, or if you haven't created one that's specifically built for this, because you want to protect your information. And then you want to find out, do certain customer segments get different treatment? Are any outputs inaccurate or biased? And then you want to use the results to refine your prompts or add additional checks. In week 4, you want to communicate the impact. Tell customers about your ethical approach. Email, here's how we ensure AI quality in your account. Show a case study, how we caught and fixed a bias in our recommendation system. And then you want a public statement. You want to put that on your website or your LinkedIn platform. You want everyone to know, here, we're being transparent. This is how we use the information. Here's what we're working on. Here are our achievements. And so it's out there. Here are the output metrics. Renewal rate increases. Target could be anywhere from 10 to 15% improvement. NPS improvement target is about 10 plus points. And support ticket reduction. Your target should be about negative 20%. Referral rate, track how many new customers came from referrals and ask them, what did you think about our AI bias statement? Where are the areas that you think that we can make improvements? You're actually going directly to your customers and you're asking them what their concerns are, what they think about it, how can they help you to improve it? So you're also showing that you're reaching out and you're asking for assistance because you want to make sure that you are covering any biases and that you're addressing those issues as a business. When you say you use AI the right way, it doesn't just reduce risk, it builds loyalty that pays you back for years. Your customers know that you care and they'll defend you, renew with you, and even recommend you. So here's what I want you to remember. And these 6 shifts aren't trends. They are structural changes in how money gets made in 2026. If you implement even just 2 of these, visual AI plus automation, hybrid roles plus insights, creator-led plus ethical AI, you will outperform most leaders heading into 2026. So this is not about keeping up with AI. This is about being AI forward. It's about profiting from it. It's about making specific changes that move specific metrics that increase specific revenue. So if you need help building these systems inside your business from strategy to execution, everything is at apelli.com. You can visit me there. I'll be more than happy to get on a consultation with you, walk you through what you need to do, what works best for you, and we can go from there. So let's make 2026 the year that you scale smarter and not louder. If you found value in the information that I shared, please share it with your coworkers or share it within your community. But until next time,